Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome to my workshop. In this video I'm going to be restoring these two Stanley Spokeshaves that I inherited from my father-in-law. I'm also going to be making a jig so that I can sharpen the blades using my honing guide. Let's get tinkering. I start by disassembling the Spokeshaves. The small one is a Stanley No. 64, the other is a derivative of the Stanley No. 51. Then I wash the parts in hot soapy water, using my wife's toothbrush to get into all the corners. That done, I use my Proxon rotary tool with a brass wire brush to remove the more stubborn grime and any loose paint. Now to renovate the blades. I'm only showing the blade for the Stanley No. 64 as the process is the same for both. I begin by flattening the back of the blade using 120 grit sandpaper, moving up to 220 grit when I'm satisfied I've got it flat. I then polish both sides with Brasso. So I've tidied up the blade on the No. 64 Spokeshave. I haven't sharpened it yet, it's really blunt. The bevel on the blade needs to be 30 degrees. It'll fit in my honing guide, but it's too short, so I need to make some sort of adapter up so that I could fix it to this and then get the right angle. I'm going to cut this aluminium to width. I'm going to utilise the factory cut edge so that I've got one very straight edge, and I'll cut two pieces out, one for each blade because they're different widths. I use a Sharpie to colour the surface and then mark the width with my calipers. Cutting the piece out on my bandsaw. I use some sandpaper on top of my engineer's surface plate to remove the sharp corners and cut marks. I use my speed square as a reference and mark a point on the jig that I will later drill and tap. I'm a bit of a hoarder, stripping down anything that's broken for hardware that might be useful in the future, and I keep a few boxes of bits. I'm looking for an appropriate sized finger bolt I can use to hold the Spokeshave blade to the honing guide jig I'm making. And after a bit of rooting around, I find a couple of good candidates. I also keep any offcuts I think might be useful in the future. These are all waste from a hole saw, but will make perfect washers for what I have in mind. So I clean them up, first using the belt sander and hand finishing them with some sandpaper. I drill a hole ready for tapping. Clean up the slight burr and test fit the finger bolts. So the way these work, you have your bevel down, you put it in there like that, pinch it up, then you, using the flat edge, the factory flat edge, you get it flat and then pinch it up. Just check that it's flat. Looks flat to me. I should now be able to put it in the honing guide. So I need to get this to a primary bell of 30. Doesn't matter if it's slightly different. I need to make a setup jig so that I can consistently get the correct angle for sharpening. I can't use the Axminster Rider setup jig as the blade is held in the jig at a different height to the plain blades, so I manufacture one of my own using an offcut. The slots in the jig are to allow for the finger bolt. I set the blade to 30 degrees and mark up the position from the edge of the honing guide to the edge of the blade, and then cut out a shoulder on the setup jig. I did the same for the 35 degrees bevel. The jig wasn't very nice to hold, so I rounded off the corners on the bandsaw. The blade needs reprofiling, so I start with 100 grit paper, move to 220 grit, and then the 400 grit diamond stone. I add a 35 degree secondary bevel and then strop the blade on the lever block. The sole of the spoke shave is in reasonable condition, so I just give it a quick once over using 400 and 1000 grit diamond stone. Quite a lot of the black japanned finish has come off, so I give each spoke shave a few coats of gloss paint to tidy them up. This paint is supposed to be touch dry in an hour and recoatable in 4. However, you don't really get a hard, durable finish for at least a couple of days, and they are best not roughly handled during this period or it can impact the finish. I reassembled the spoke shaves, set them, then tested them. My father-in-law will be very happy knowing they're still in use, especially so because his grandson uses them to shape the necks of the guitars he makes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video of me restoring my father-in-law's Stanley Spokeshaves. If you did, then please leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, then please subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, why not subscribe by clicking my logo? It's free, and YouTube will add some of my videos to your feed. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.